human language. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
You write your first draft with your heart. And you rewrite with your head.
Seize the day.
Greetings and salutations. This is the Writers Showcase. This is a show where we introduce you to a great roundtable group of writers, and we ask them a series of questions about the writing process, and we also take your questions who may be watching or listening to this right now. So do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you're watching us live on the replay, hello there. And once again, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and thank you so much for being here. But this roundtable is a very electrifying group of people, so let's go ahead and introduce them here at this very moment. Please welcome E.A. Brown to the stage. How you doing, good sir? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too as well, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
We're very happy to have you here. It's been a while, and
Yes, it has.
It has, but we're happy that you're here and you're part of the Knights of the Round Table.
Yes.
So it's right. I got my literary references. I'm catching on to this sort of thing, right? You know, I'm not just a pretty face. Also joining us here is a kind gentleman, a scholar, and apparently he's a knight. No. He may write stories that may feature a knight. Boyd Morrison's here. What's going on, man? How you been?
Hey, good to see you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much for being with us here, Boyd. Also joining us, please welcome author extraordinaire Alyssa is here. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello. Thanks for having me back so soon.
Well, you know, hey, we aim to please, and you're a very wonderful person, very wonderful guest that we had on And I Quote. So we figure, hey, geez, there's a spot at the round table. Why not? It's, you know, we're all learning here, right? It's a learning curve.
True.
Yes, it's all good. And also joining us is an esteemed good friend of ours and a good friend of the And I Quote channel family, and he is the man, the myth, the legend of Stormgate Press. Yeah, that guy. That's right. Charles F. Millhouse is finally here. We finally got you in, man.
I'm here. Yeah. I told my wife, I said, he asks all the time, and I never get on the show. I said, I better start doing it now, so he'll ask again. So I'm glad to be here.
The last thing I want to do is become an annoyance and get on somebody's nerves in the Stormgate. Okay, I don't want to get on the nerves of the Stormgate Press household, but stranger things have happened, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, we're going to be asking a series of questions to our writers here. We're going to give them a chance to answer, and then if anyone has any thoughts on anything we discussed during the course of this episode, please, by all means, let us know in the comments and let us know in the chat. So with that being said, E.A. Brown, what in your mind makes a great book, just speaking in general terms?
I think for me, what makes a great book is the story. It's always the story for me. Is it something that's going to catch my attention? Is the character something that I can relate to? And so to me, that's what makes a great book. It's always the story.
Right on. And Alyssa Hazel, same question. What makes a great book?
I think it's a combination of the story and then prose, because I feel like if a good story is locked behind not as good prose, it's hard to appreciate the story for what it is. But you don't necessarily have to have like very great sort of the Clark Ashton Smith level of prose in order to tell a good story. So I think it's finding a good combination, especially depending on where you're starting out as a writer, of great story, of like good story, good prose, and characters that are interesting enough that you want to follow them through the story.
Well said. This is why we pay her the big bucks, fellas. Gosh, not trying to make light of your answer, but it's a great answer, though. Don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
Boyd Morrison, who knows a thing or two about storytelling. What makes a great book?
To me, what makes a great book is something that creates an emotion in you. You come away from the story feeling happy, sad, excited. And if that's not there, I don't see how it can be a great story. And those are the stories that really resonate with me after I'm done reading them. It makes me not only think, but makes me feel something. And that's why sometimes I'll read a book again, even though I know exactly what's going to happen, because I want to get that feeling back.
Feel the force around you. Sorry, I got some Star Wars-isms on the brain tonight. You may hear one or two. Charles F. Millhouse, what do you think, my good friend? What makes a great book?
Well, they've all said about what I was thinking. It's always story, it's prose, it's characters, it's the interaction of your characters, um, who you have conflict between those characters. So even the characters that are both heroes who are fighting for a common cause can still have conflict, and that's good to push the story along.
Valid points. Valid points. Thank you all for sharing that. Do greatly appreciate it. Good stuff here, folks. Good stuff. Boyd, how about this one? Where's your favorite spot to write?
My favorite spot is I usually write on my laptop, and I sit in the front of my house where I have a window overlooking the mountains and the lakes. I'm here in Seattle. And so I don't know about you all, but most of my writing time is spent like this, looking around, and about 10% of my time is actually typing, because I'm thinking, how do I make the characters work? What's the story about? And so I like to have a nice view while I'm contemplating all of that.
Wow. Okay. Can we teleport to this nice scenic location of yours? Because my goodness, that sounds like a splendid time. It really does. I gotta go out to the West Coast more often, catch up on some stuff. Maybe even go to Seattle. Who knows?
Mhm.
Possibilities are endless in this world. Charles, what do you think? What's your favorite spot to write?
Well, I'm sitting in it.
Yeah, you got a Captain America shield. You got comic books going all the way back to 1934. You got long boxes, short boxes, action figures. Is there anything missing in that nerd cave?
My TARDIS, but it's downstairs out back. So I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So 11,000 comic books and lots of reference books and books written by friends and stuff that I like to read. And I like to sit right here at my desk and create. I don't have a window to look out, but I'm right in the middle of a national forest. So I do go do a lot of hikes and stuff when I'm thinking about a story, and then I come back and put it down. I do every once in a while will record things on my phone while I'm hiking, and that way I can come back and transcribe it down.
Wow, yeah, that's a nice looking Captain America shield. You got another one made out of vibranium I could borrow?
There's another one around here, but it's only made out of plastic. Sorry.
Where's that vibranium when you need? I'm sorry. More comic book references are going to come to the brain. E.A. Brown, what about you? Favorite spot to write?
That's interesting. My brain works. I could be driving, or I could be in my bed, or I can be watching television, or I can be in my office. It depends. I mean, to me, I don't really have a favorite place. It's just that once my brain starts going, then I'm using my phone. Like I like how Ryan said, he records. To me, I could be anywhere, and I just grab something, and then I'll just start typing, or I start laying out characters and just getting those fresh ideas out. So I don't really have a favorite place.
Okay.
It could just be anywhere for me.
Okay. Understandably so. What about you, Alyssa? Favorite spot to write?
I feel like my best writing comes when I'm at my desktop computer because I feel like I'm more like locked in and that kind of thing. And I have my big chunky headset that I can just throw some music on Spotify and just go in for it, and then kind of look up an hour later and I've written down a couple between like 500 and like 1,000 words. But honestly, I feel like a lot of writing also gets done on my couch because, again, with me being in the second trimester, there's been a lot of like sudden naps. So I'll go to the couch and I'll type a couple hundred words, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fall over about now and wake up in a little bit and then do what I need to do for the rest of the day. But I more try to make it a daily thing where I'm getting into the manuscript for an hour or two every day, even if it's just to keep my my writing muscles up, if that makes sense. Sometimes I get about 500 words done. Sometimes it's closer to like 1,500. I was very blessed the other day, and I got through like 6,000 words because I was just got the tunnel vision on. but it's more just regularly getting into my work and keeping up that pace. That works really well for me.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Honestly, it really depends on the piece, whatever mood I'm in. I did a short story recently that's going to be featured in something I'll probably plug at the end, called 10 Arrows. It's my first sword and sorcery, and it has a bit of a Mongolian kind of appreciation to part of it. So I listened to a lot of, there was a Mongolian heavy metal band. Apparently, Mongolian heavy metal is a genre. So I listened to a lot of that, and it's just very, very good when you're trying to write somebody on like horse combat. Sometimes it's just throw on like the same song for like 5 hours. Phil Collins, the drum solo, and for some reason like that is like a great marching tempo. So like I can feel it coming in the air tonight. So just put that on repeat for like 2 hours, and you're good. Listen to a lot of Blade Runner, the Blade Runner themes. Sometimes I'll listen to the video games themes, like the Mass Effect soundtrack, which is also just really good. Usually more like the science fiction kind of stuff for sci-fi, and more like kind of rock stuff when I get into my fantasy work, but usually somewhere in there. Basil Polaritis, I never say his name right. The guy who did the work for Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer is also like really good, especially when it's brainstorming time. You just gotta get on the treadmill and run like your life depends on it, and then you come up with the best ideas ever because the oxygen cuts off from your brain and you're just floating. So, but yeah, it's just a variety of different things, that kind of thing. Whatever strikes and what works in the moment.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I learned a ton in the last few minutes here, ladies and gentlemen. And the other thing is, you can never ever go wrong with my boy Phil Collins. You can never ever go wrong. Phil Collins is the queen that rises to the top. Oh yeah. And that in the air tonight drums. I mean, come on. Who doesn't get electrified when you hear that thing? Does anyone hear it? I mean, oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Who needs "You'll Be in My Heart" when you can have "In the Air Tonight"? Studio, just anything.
Honestly, at this point, that song, the other, "You'll Be in My Heart" makes me cry actually a little bit. So it's just that's a distraction. We gotta keep moving, guys. We can't
go this or whatever the first song you hear in the beginning or something like that. So
I can't listen to music that has words in lyrics, because then I start singing along and then I start typing it. So I listen to mostly soundtrack music from movies and video games.
John Williams,
Hans Zimmer, James Horner,
baby,
Barry Goldsmith, all the big dramatic composers. That usually gets me in the mood.
Those are good picks.
Have you ever listened to the Edge, which I think is another Jerry Goldsmith one, the soundtrack from The Edge?
No, I haven't heard that one.
I still have not seen the movie.
That we talked about it for a little bit. I won't go back into it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Saying.
But
I love The Last of the Mohicans is one of my favorite soundtracks.
That one's good too.
Forget about Writer's Showcase. We're going to call this the Music Appreciation Showcase, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing here. Yeah, woo! Love the music. Once again, for those of you just joining us, this is the Writer's Showcase, even though we're about to do a dissertation about how great music is for helping you concentrate on piecing things together and writing stories. But don't forget to like and share this with your friends. If you're watching us live or on Memorax, there's a throwback for you. Hello there. And if you have any questions for our esteemed group of writers, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you have some favorite music that you prefer to write to, let us know that in the chat too, because I would love to hear suggestions for music that writers could use to listen to when they're word slinging, as Bobby Nash likes to say. Charles. So I'm sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, music is great. So here. Did we cover everybody's favorite spots to write? Did we cover all that? Or did I miss somebody?
No, I think you got everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss, because
I just took too much time with my answers.
Way too much music. Crush your enemies. See the difference before you. No, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No Conan the Barbarian impressions tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll spare you the horrendous impression I just gave. Outside of that, what genre do you enjoy reading the most, T.A. Brown?
I've always been a fiction type of person. Also, I'm a huge uh, action, but I just love reading in general. To be honest with you, my mother took us to a library at such a young age, so for me, any general, I'm pretty comfortable reading as long as it has a good story, catches my attention, and I'm really connected to it. So, but I would say, if anything, it would be sci-fi because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. So,
Well, live long and prosper then.
well,
See, I still know a few things about the Trekkie universe. Still learning
yes,
though.
yes.
I'm getting there. What about you, Boyd? What genre do you enjoy reading the most?
Well, I love thriller novels because that's what I do, and that's what got me interested in writing. But I also love science fiction. I'm a huge fan of the old hard sci-fi, Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke, and
Mhm.
if you can combine the two, like Andy Weir with Project Hail Mary and The Martian, or John Scalzi, he writes really good thriller science fiction. That's what I love to read.
Interesting picks. What about you, Charles? What genre or genres do you enjoy reading the most?
Primarily science fiction.
Mhm.
So I read some science fiction. I like to read a lot of pulp stuff, Walter B. Gibson, Lester Dent, that kind of thing. And I'm into spy novels, James Bond. And I like to read some supernatural. I'm a huge Jim Butcher fan, love the Dresden Files. So I read a lot of that too.
Yeah. And I've heard a little bit of the audiobooks of that series. It's oh gosh, not Angel, but Spike. Yeah, James Marsters is the narrator for those books. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very good job.
I would venture to say so. I had a really good conversation with him at a convention some years ago. It wasn't about that, of course, because this is before I knew what the Dresden Files and Jim Butcher and all that stuff was. But loved him as Brainiac on Smallville, my favorite TV series of all time. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. But he's played so many different characters, and apparently he's a really good narrator for audiobooks and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff, though. What about you, Alyssa? What genre do you enjoy reading the most?
I would have to say it's couple of different things. I like nonfiction. I like some crime thrillers. It sort of depends on my mood. Red Dragon by Thomas Harris is probably one of my favorite books. I'm currently rereading Watership Down, which is also one of my top favorite ones. Top favorite. One of my best ones. I think he just has a great efficient yet simple and well integrated world building system that I think a lot of people should dive into. I read a lot of Agatha Christie growing up. Read a lot of Robert E. Howard, Edgar Rice Burroughs, that kind of thing. So a lot of pulp, a lot of kind of crime thriller sort of things, and a couple like weird tales. Recently, I started reading Clark Ashton Smith, and I'm like, could write so much better if I just sat down and read the dictionary one afternoon. But that's usually what I tend to read.
Yeah, nice. Very, very nice. Yeah. I've seen a little bit of overlap between our panelists this evening about certain genres and stories.
No Sam Clancy for anyone?
I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm a Clancy fan. I love his work. So
Clancy?
Yeah, Sam Clancy.
Yeah, Clancy fan. Yeah.
Sam Clancy. He got a new book out right now.
Thrillers.
Yeah.
Adventure thrillers.
Now I'm just thinking about Clancy Brown, which is an entirely different conversation.
I was going to say, that's an actor. But...
Yeah, the actor. Yes.
I like Lee Child too.
Mm-hmm.
Lee, yeah.
Oh, Lee Child, yeah.
Yeah, Lee Child's good too.
I need to read more people who've written past 2000, but I have a bookshelf of books I need to read, so but I haven't read yet. So
yeah, well, you and me both, because the entire bookshelf behind me over here is all TBR, ladies and gentlemen. That's how bad it is. You see how bad this is? Look at this. This is it's nasty, but do my best to get to it. Someone through my friends in the writers Discord I'm in, they've been telling me for a good while now that I need to read Jack Carr. So I picked up a copy of The Terminal List because now it's like a series on Prime and everything else is going on with it. It's like a spin-off too.
That is a really good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
I heard it was. So
it's
sitting
very
there.
good. Very good. Very good.
So at least I got The Terminal List, E.A. Brown. I got The Terminal List.
You got something.
I got something. I got I think that's one of the first ones in the series, if I'm not mistaken. Going by the series order, right? So
yeah,
I'm getting there, folks. Just give me a few more decades and I'll get there. Well, gee willikers. Boyd Morrison, what are the rewards about being a writer?
I am one of these authors who loves having written. I like having the books done. My favorite part is editing. So that's, but I like being able to think back on the story, but I also do like the initial creative process of coming up with the story and coming up with the concepts behind it. It's the middle part of actually writing it and getting it down that's really a chore for me. I mean, I don't know how I've gotten done the books I have, but they usually end up being something I like. So yeah, I like the early part and the ending part, but the middle part is sometimes tough for me.
Yeah. Sometimes certain parts of a story are hard to crack down. What about you, Charles? What are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Completion, getting the story done, getting it out of my head, and it makes you feel good to finish a project. And I agree. I like to edit too. I think the real writing process is during the editing. That's when you really pull the story together, tighten it up. So I have so many stories in my head, and I'm sure everybody on this panel probably is the same way. So every time I start a new project, I get overwhelmed sometimes. But when I know the end process, when the cover starts coming in, and when my wife starts helping me get it edited, I know that I'm actually accomplishing something.
Teamwork makes the dream work, folks. It's a true story. Unbelievable? Believe it. There's a catchphrase from a TV series. Alyssa, some of the rewards about being a writer. What do you think?
Well, besides being able to pay your editor when the book actually sells, that's monetary reward's nice. Being able to have your work pay for itself. That's always nice. But I would say both the creative process and kind of getting nice feedback at the end of it, because I feel like I'm a little sensitive, I guess. But hearing a nice review that's kind of well thought out is kind of a reward of itself. I got a review recently about one of my first book, where the reviewer was comparing it to like the second book in kind of the series of sorts, and was saying it's not as good as the second book, but it's still worth reading as like a solid sci-fi book. And I'm like, it's nice to hear that some of my earlier work still holds up like 3 or 4 years later. And so that to me is kind of rewarded of sorts.
Oh yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Totally. What about you, A. Brown? Some of the rewards about being a writer?
I think for me, it's always been the journey, creating that story. And for me, I'm not sure if others. I have a partner, Phil Matz. We write together. We do a lot of different things. When we created Deathblade, we created together as a team. And I think from that really, allowed me, I consider it one of my favorites, but I think the most favorite part for me is when I get it out of my hands and I let someone else read it. Because sometimes, you may think it's great, and, you're seeing tunnel vision, and then you may have someone who may see something that you may not know. You may say, oh, I didn't really think about it that way. But I think one of the things for me, and I really get excited because I think when we met, you asked me what keep me up at night. What keeps me up at night is not so much me finishing the book. It is, what do the readers see? Do they see what I see?
Mm.
And then, it's something that I have, you got to have thick skin. Because some people would say some stuff, you're like, you actually think that? You know, but I think if people start asking questions and they say, hey, I got a boatload of questions from this book. This guy wrote this book. I see where the characters are, I see where some of the plots are, and they're asking the questions. And you kind of know, for me as a writer, I like setting my readers up. Sometimes I may write something just to get a feeling out of you, just to pick with you, but yet it still has a purpose and a rhyme to it. So for me, I would say people reading my book, people seeing what I saw, or seeing the story and being able to follow it and get excited about it. That's what excites me. That's my favorite part of anything that I ever did.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally dig it, man. Totally dig it. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, isn't it?
Exactly.
Had to dig deep for that. Well, for me, I had to dig deep for that. No, I'm just kidding. But I hear what you're saying, though. I hear what you're saying, 1,000%. I also hope you're enjoying this right now, the Writers Showcase on Anti-Quote Channel. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments or the chat. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. Opposite side of the fence, though, here, Boyd. What are some of the challenges about being a writer?
Well, as I said, it's a challenge for me to discipline myself to do this on a regular basis. Helps having a deadline. And a lot of people think, coming up with ideas is a challenge. And I think, as a couple of other people have said, ideas are really not the problem. I mean, I've got so many ideas I could be writing for the next 20 years just with what I've come up with already. So it's really making the story work.
Right.
I've had a number of stories that I've started and then abandoned because the premise sounded good, but then I just couldn't make it work as a story with the characters that I had created. And so, that's it's putting one foot in front of the other every day. It's like walking across the United States. You can't do it in one day. So every day is another little bit that you do, and sticking with that is the toughest thing, I would say.
Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. And thank you for sharing that with us. What about you, Charles? Some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
Time, finding the time. I work a full-time job. Luckily, the job that I have, though, I don't work in the summer. I don't work during a holiday break. So I do get a lot of time to write and promote and do book shows in the summer months. But finding the time to sit down and write, my kids are growing up, so and they're out doing their own thing. But I like to spend time with my wife. As much as I love to write, I love to spend more time with her than I do to write. So it's balancing that with life and sitting down and having time to put the story out and giving the story the time that it deserves.
Yeah. Same here. I work a full-time job, and I have a part-time job too that I work during the course of a week. So I'm working 43 hours a week alone. And then when you get home, you're burned out, you're tired, you just want to turn on the tube for a couple minutes, and then go sleepy by, and then wake up and do it all over again at 5 a.m. But and then I'm doing 3 or 4 shows on this. So it's like, is there any time for yours truly to do some writing in that writer's notebook I got back here? I don't flipping know, or the computer for that matter. But I'm gonna do my best to find a bit of a routine, a regimen that I can do during the week, if not on the weekends and things like that. But granted, that's on me. That's not for anyone else to worry about in this case. But what are some of the challenges about being a writer from your perspective, Alyssa?
I would say marketing is a huge issue, especially nowadays when there's I think a statistic came out, saw it on the internet, so it absolutely has to be true, that there are more books being published every year than there are readers. And I think that when you have that in mind, breaking through sort of the noise and all the I don't want to say the pollution, but kind of like the distractions and everything, because you're not just fighting other books, you're fighting television and podcasts, like to get a bit of attention on your work. A lot of my earlier books failed because I didn't take the time to market them and bringing them into bringing it sort of into the publication date. Like I made the mistake of assuming that, oh, once they're out into the world, it'll find its audience on its own, and that really isn't the case. That being said, though, I think marketing and then finding the time to write on top of that, because you have to take time, you have to do your research, you have to figure things out. Sometimes there's a little money involved, especially in terms of advertising. Like how much free advertising can you get out of just social media kind of stuff? And I think that's the biggest challenge, is because I publish independently. It's balancing sort of the writing and having all these different business hats. But I think marketing is probably one of the biggest challenges, because you can't figure that out. The book, all the time and the money that you've put into it, there's a chance in a blue moon it might return any investment that you've put into it, but without marketing, it usually is kind of dead on arrival.
Yeah, navigating the social media landscape and figuring out how to beat the algorithms or overcome that kind of stuff to market yourself. Yeah, it's not very good. It's not very good to me. It's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that is a problem for anybody,
For sure.
for all us as writers. We all have that, I'm an independent comic book writer. So definitely understand where that comes into play, because you gotta, to me, I guess it's kind of funny. I'm a marketing degree. Marketing is my degree. But when it actually comes into reality, you have to know who your audience is and who you're trying to reach and how to reach it and how to connect with the resources or the people to help connect you to that audience and getting out in front of them. And that was something that you got to do that. On top of that, you got to make sure your book is solid.
Writing, yeah.
Right. You got to make sure your story's right. You got to make sure you're on top of things. And I can definitely relate to that. I mean, we're just finished our successful Kickstarter.
Hey.
And we're working on issues 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And it's a pain. And then on top of that, we're doing a novel, which my brain is just like fried. 5
different directions all at once.
Right. On top of that, I work full-time IT, but the only thing is, like I told my little one, I take her to school and then I come back home and then I work from home, which is actually kind of nice because it's not as much sitting in Atlanta traffic, which praise God, I don't have to do that. But those are part of being independent is not just us doing marketing and doing the stories. We got to handle the business side too. So it's a lot and it can be overwhelming. And I feel that. And for me, what I had to learn was I had to trust people, but to trust people, you got to make sure you have a team that is as hungry as you are. And like you said, you got to meet deadlines and, you got to do those things. And I totally understand where you're coming from, because that's where, challenges for us, those challenges are every day for me.
Yeah.
There's not enough time in the day. I wish there was more time.
Yeah. I feel like if I ever have a book that like completely like, woo, and it's like a very, very steady income, I'm probably first thing I'm gonna do is hire somebody to handle social media so I can just write. But that is going to be a pipe dream for many years down the road, I think.
But you know what though, I would say this. When I decided to do my Death Blade, my first book, I did a lot of research. I talked to a lot of people. and I kind of got an idea of what I was getting myself into. But I think also I had already worked with a comic book group out of Africa. We were working on getting them a movie deal. So I kind of had an understanding of how that process worked. But then when you get into it, then you find out, oh man, Jaidi has a big company. So that's totally different. I'm just myself, Matt, and then our investor, that's it. That's three people, and then it's not a lot of people. But I would say this, a game plan, making sure and if I could say something, promotion and advertisement is every day.
Yeah.
It's not after you write the book. It's before you write the book. You already setting those parameters. And if I could say something, I would say hit it out the gate. You don't have to wait till your book is done. Doing it now, posting it, letting people see who you are. And of course, you have books already done, so people are familiar with you. Being able to relate that and having people be your voice for you. And that's something that we're realizing now, that we're seeing that the opportunities are providing itself. And, for indie writers, if that's something I could say, I would say start on it right now. Don't wait till after your book is done.
Yeah. Hit the ground running. Thanks. That means I have to start recording myself looking not so pretty in the morning and be like, hey guys, guess what?
You gotta do those live calls,
man.
Yeah. You gotta do those live calls, Ryan. I mean, hey, I'm a private person.
Yeah.
And for me to go up there and do these live calls, like I told my consultant, I was like, there is no way. And now I'm doing it. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She thinks I'm having says, hey, you're 50 something and are you okay? And I'm like, no, it's just the way it is. Now my children, my daughter's in med school. She's my social media guy because she understands social media. So I let her do it. My little one knows a little bit more than me. But again, bringing those resources because, young people, these kids are a little bit different than where we are. The social media, I'm not a social media person, to be honest with you, but I realize that you need it.
Yeah.
They're on their phones 24/78. What else is new? It's like,
Yeah, she already wants the new Apple phone. I told her, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, Snapchat this, TikTok that. What else is going to happen? Honestly, there's too many social media apps. I can't even keep up with the shiznit. But what I can keep up with is the fact that you are watching or listening to this brilliant episode of the Writers Showcase here on Antico Channel. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions for our esteemed panel, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. Freddie Parks is in the chat. He says thousands of books a day, not just the year, a day, are being published on Amazon that are, I don't know if that second part of it is true or not, that are AI created. Trying to get someone's attention to give your book a chance is like getting them to find a needle in a haystack.
I'm not a fan of AI in that way because I feel a lot of people's IPs are being taken when you do AI. Now, if you're using AI just based off of your stuff, then that's something totally different. But again, I feel that AI, to me, if you're creating a book based off AI, it still needs your information, right? You still got to put information in. So you're updating it, you're creating it. But I don't know if it takes away for writing. I just feel that, for me, there's nothing like your brain. There's nothing like things that you see that a computer is not going to know because you got to put it in there. That's a huge difference. And, I hope people understand that. But I still feel that from an AI point of view, and for us from comic books, we don't like AI, especially from our drawings or from a perspective in that way. But, I think there's some good and there could be some bad. But I think if you're creating a book from AI, are you really writing?
No,
I get that. Let's just hope Skynet doesn't take over.
Yeah, I mean, if AI can create a book, a novel that's
We're in trouble.
indistinguishable from something that a person can create, then we're already down that rabbit hole of
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Right.
if they can, if an AI is good enough to create an entire 400-page novel that you cannot tell is not written by a person,
Right.
then the AI can do anything.
Yeah.
And so we're in much bigger trouble than
hmm
people not reading books written by people anymore.
Mhm.
We're
Shaky
it's able
ground,
to-
as one might
to
say.
Yeah.
And
create-
going back to the second part of that question, where he talked about finding a needle in a haystack.
Yes.
It's sort of like driving to work every day, and you go past the billboard every day, and you never see it every day,
The-
every day. So finally, you do see that billboard.
Billboard. Yeah.
I got lucky that I kind of stumbled into my audience because I wrote the first Captain Hawkland book because I love to write. I love pulp stuff, so I wrote a pulp book, and it sold really well, not realizing that there was a genre behind it called new pulp. And the next thing I know, I wanted to be a science fiction writer. I ended up being a new pulp writer, and they found me. So there are a lot of books out there. AI stuff is really dominating, and it's making us independent writers look bad in some way. And the best thing you can do is just to stick to your guns and push forward, and you'll find an audience, or your audience will find you. There are, and one of the biggest things that I hear from people that really is like a knife to the heart is, "Well, I don't like to read." I hear that a lot when I do comic book shows or Pulp Fest kind of stuff. Going through, I don't like to read books, and that kind of reading is power, and people don't understand that, and that's what
right.
kind of really annoys me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah,
really
that's crazy.
what we, yes, AI novels are
Mhm.
an issue, but
Shaky
as
ground.
Alyssa said, we're competing not only with
Mhm.
AI novels or other writers, we're competing with TikTok and Snapchat and streaming and every other kind of entertainment medium. And I think
Exactly.
people are reading less because it takes more time and it takes more effort.
Yeah.
And it's just much easier, as Ryan said, to just sit down and put the TV on and let it, passively entertain you.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say, if this gives you guys any
Mhm.
like I think that my generation is getting back into reading a lot more. I've seen a lot more like book clubs getting started off. My sisters are taking their kids to the library all the time. I think literacy rates has become a big topic of discussion, especially over the last couple of years. Because there's some high schoolers graduating with a third grade reading level, and yeah, like in a couple of years ago, one of the Baltimore County schools, they're like, yeah, they're 12th graders graduating a third grade education. So I think there's
Wow.
this there's a big discussion going on right now, and I think there is sort of a bit of a renaissance happening in terms of the younger generation, especially when they're looking back and seeing like what happens when kids raised on screens are that's all they have, and there's kind of seeing the damage that can cause. For me, AI, unfortunately, in some ways, the genie's out of the bottle. But
Right.
I've also encountered enough AI generated content where it's just not quite there in a lot of ways.
It's not as personal.
I use Grammarly as a kind of checker. I'm at the point where I'm hiring like an editor to go wrap. But when I go through Grammarly, I would say probably 60 to 70% of their suggestions are correct, but there's a large chunk that aren't. And Grammarly's been around for a while. And if that AI, which it's technically AI, is riddled with errors, then what are programs that are new? How are they going to be any better? And I feel like authors who rely on AI to do grammatical checking and things like that over like a human eye are dooming themselves to miss a lot of errors or have their voice stripped away because a lot of AI content is made to make the writing as user friendly and as generic as possible for business writing. And
Yeah,
and that's the thing with writing is that if people are coming to you regularly, they want your voice.
Yeah.
Like people would take like AI would take like let's go back to Clark Ashton Smith. They would take Clark Ashton Smith's work and shred it to pieces because Clark Ashton Smith wrote his own language. Jack Vance like created his own words and things like that. So I think that there is some concern because I think there is a wave of people using AI writing to get through school, which is a concern. But that's a whole other conversation for someone smarter than me. But I think that writers, as long as you work hard and develop the discipline necessary and like work on cultivating an audience that loves you, loves your work, loves your voice, there's going to be maybe some lean years ahead when it comes to that. But I think that if you work hard and dedicate yourself to the craft, people are going to recognize that in the long term.
And I think also too, I think the younger generation, their attention span is not like our attention span.
Yeah.
It's totally, you got to hit them like from the get. I mean, I sit there and I watch my younger daughter. She's 13, and she likes to read, but if it doesn't catch her attention, she's just gonna put it to the side. Yeah, she likes watch TikTok. She's on YouTube, but their attention span is short. So I think as writers, we need to understand the type of audience that we're trying to reach. If you're trying to reach the younger generation, get to the point. Yeah. They're not going to sit there and wait for this whole storyline. Hey, I got to read 30 pages to figure out what this guy's doing.
Yeah,
that's not going to catch them.
Short stories, I think, have come back into vogue. I think.
They are huge.
Time. They're everywhere.
Huge.
They're everywhere.
My first 3 books are all short stories and poem collections.
Oh,
and that's how I got on the map.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and like one of my books is it's short enough that I can sell it for $5 at book shows.
Wow.
And it's a great it's almost like a slightly expensive business card. Is that I don't make a lot of money off of it, but you get a lot of people are willing to spend $5 to get that's $5. So
and it gives them a chance to read your work, so
exactly
back and get something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get an idea of the person's work that way.
Yeah. And on that same note, pretty much all of my books are less than 70,000 words, which I think helps a lot. I think even people who aren't necessarily like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I think a lot of people can appreciate a nice, I can finish this in an afternoon or I can finish this in like a couple of days, especially like working full time, maybe as a part-time job too. So I think there's going to be a renaissance in like the shorter forms, short stories, novellas, novels, that kind of thing.
And I think that's why I think comic books is such a great thing, because they're not a lot of pages. I mean, you have your graphic novels.
Floppies are 24 pages.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Death Blade is 32 pages.
Hey, you can break the rules every now and then. You can't do it every issue, brother.
I'm sorry, man. It's 32
No, I'm just
pages.
kidding. I'll read them all, man.
No, but the thing, I think what is, what we are trying to learn and what we have tried to do is try to create a sophisticated type plot line, but yet it's simple. Yet you can follow it, and we let the visual effects kind of take you there, where we don't have to use a lot of words. We try to use a cinematic approach to try to get you into it. And I agree with Alyssa. You definitely have to know it, and I feel that comic books. I mean, my youngest daughter, has just now started to get into. She's more of a manga type person, but now she's getting into comic books and she likes it because it's short. So as we adapt and as we move further into our careers and understanding that, if you're able to understand that, then you can conquer that world. very very simply. And again, like I said, marketing. Once people see you and you're there, it's just it's beautiful.
That he's right, Sorry, I don't know. I don't even know what else is, because you guys are just killing it on these questions that we've been asking you and these statements too. Real quick before I add something to what somebody said here in the round table. Freddie goes on to say, Malcolm's character said it best, though it wasn't about AI, right? You didn't earn the knowledge for yourself, so you don't take any responsibility for it.
Right.
That's a
Right.
Jurassic Park quote. There you go. Malcolm was right. And then Freddie goes on to say, fantastic show. As always, I have liked and shared this video. I'm off to do a little writing myself. Well done, Freddie. Enjoy the living heck out of that word slinging, brother. Honestly, I think I'm going to just, honest, and I blame Bobby Nash for this. Every time he posts something on social media, he always uses the words word slinging, Charles. And every time I see it, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to borrow that.
You better
I'm gonna
watch.
start
You might start charging every time you say it.
He probably will. Bobby, if you're watching that, which by the way, Bobby did like this video, Charles, just so you're aware.
5 cents per word.
Exactly. 5 cents, everybody. Just like the character in Peanuts, when she was a psychiatrist and she was doing the help is in, the doctor is in, 5 cents. Oh, money, 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 money. Don't you just love the sound of that little itty bitty change in that tin?
I'll be honest, that's how I feel when I see my KDP numbers at the end of the month. I got my $20. I got my
20 cents.
20 to $100.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I can pay my editor.
Books are paying for themselves, even though they're not paying you a salary.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're paying for themselves, where you can order more books and you can pay an editor and cover artist, and that's a good feeling that you're actually achieving something in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
pretty much.
That's another fair point. And something that one of you said during the course of this discussion was that they like people's attention spans, especially these days, is very short. You got to grab them in like the first 30 seconds or they're out, right? So, and this is what we've said about books for years and years and years, even though it goes against what I'm about to say. Don't judge a book but we do it anyway. We judge a book by the cover. If the cover looks slick and good looking, I'm going to check that book out on the back and read a bit of the synopsis, or I'm just going to crack open the book and start reading it. And kind of like in the terms of baseball, even though Ryan, I'm not a sports fan, but if you don't hook me in the first, with all due respect to writers out there, with all due respect, for me, if you don't hook me in the first 3 chapters, I'm out. Because you got it. The cover looks good, but when I crack it open and I'm not getting much
first 3 pages for me.
Well, that, but I'm just saying, like, if you don't give me enough substance to handle in the first 2 or 3 chapters of your respective story, I'm gonna chuck it. I'm gonna chuck it like a basketball into a hoop. See, there's another sports analogy. I'm not even a sports fan, but that's just how I feel about it. But then again, here's another thing about writing in general and having the confidence to continue your writing and continue to put out your stories, whatever it is you want to write. And by the way, this is not about me. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, nor am I trying to toot my own horn. But I'm just saying, from my experience, when I got word that my short story was going to be published in an anthology with 15 other writers that came out in July of this year, Western Tales Volume 1, #, always promote yourself. Just like Brian K. Morris always says, Charles.
You got a Western. You got me. You need to give me that link.
Okay. But I'll send you the link. Okay. So, but my point is, when I heard that my short story, because I didn't even start writing until I started writing 5 years ago during the pandemic, and then once I started going back, when people started going back to work in school, I stopped because I was still in school at the time. I was in college. And then recently, when I joined this writers Discord, the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord, more specifically, and I started talking to all these writers, it got my creative gears turning again. And I started writing again. And then before you knew it, I had a Western that I was pretty happy with. And then I sent it into the publisher saying, because they were looking for submissions for their upcoming anthology at one time. And I said, here's my story. It's called Wolf of the West. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration, blah, blah, blah. Then I get the email saying, congratulations, your story is going to be a part of this anthology. I'm like, what? I was like that guy in Jaws. A what? I just had no flipping clue that for someone who hasn't written anything in 5 years and just started cracking at it again, is getting within 2 or 3 stories, one of the first ones out of the gate is being published in an anthology that I never thought would ever going to happen. So you never know what can happen. It was as soon as you get your wheels turning, and if you got an idea for a story, put it down on paper, because otherwise you're going to lose that thing.
And those guys over at Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast are really nice guys too. And they really are pushing forward when it comes to pulp stories, westerns, and in general.
Yeah. More specifically for anyone who's wondering, it's Nate and Luke of this one right here, the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast. This is the logo. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever it's, any podcasting platform. It's all there. Hashtag promote your friends, y'all. But yeah, no, when I got that, I was like, and now that it's published, this means, okay, now I know I can do this. Because it's one thing to write stories, but then once you get published and you get that book in your hands, you're like, oh, this actually happened. This is real. This isn't film at 11. This isn't an episode of The Twilight Zone where the guy wakes up where he's the same and everything around him is different. It's the icing on the cake, folks. Does that kind of make sense? I hope I'm making sense here. I'm maybe going totally off base.
No, you totally make sense. It's
a different vibe.
It is a different vibe. I mean, when I got my book and it came in my hands and I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is actually happening. Yeah, it is actually happening. And then I think, like I told you, the other part I think is, well, I don't think I know for me, is when people who have read your stuff, because, we all think we're all great writers. I think I'm saying fancy, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Alyssa's like, well, there's this part and there's this one. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
But at the end of the day, you do care what people think about your book. You do want to hear that. And like I said, that's what keeps me up at night.
We have feelings.
Yeah. I want to hear what you totally
an honest
think
review
of this. An honest review. And I told someone, don't BS me. Just
don't
be straight.
it.
Yeah. Be straight to the point and let me know exactly what you think.
Don't beat around the bush, as one might say.
Right.
If you like the story, you like the story. If you don't like the story, hey, and this is the other thing too, because we've learned this too as the course of our time as writers. Not everybody's going to like new pulp. Not everybody's going to like the Western genre. And everybody's going to like, what do you call it, a period piece. Like what's it called? Historical fiction, right? Not everyone's going to like that. And that's okay. But I will say this. I mean, when you got a sick ass looking cover for that, the series that Beth and Boyd Morrison got going on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, knights and this going on. And then he's got to rescue her and he's got to find out what's going on over here. I'm like, dude, sign me the frack up, man, because knights, I mean, you had me at night, honestly. Like, forget about saying you had me at hello, Boyd. You had me at night. All right. The word, the character knight, not like the Dark Knight, like the Batman movie, but man.
Awesome. And then we put a dragon in the most recent.
You put the dragon in the third one, and I'm like, okay, what's next? Are you gonna pull a Boromir and have someone say they have a cave troll? You're gonna pull a Fellowship of the Ring on me? No, I'm joking. but congrats on that, by the way, Boyd.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great series. There's no doubt about it. What else is a great series is this conversation going on in the Writers Showcase. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments or the chat. I want to respect everybody's time here. So, Boyd, I think it's coming up on your time.
I'll need to go in about 7 minutes.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll toss this the next question anyway, because I know you got a jet. But the next question will go over to you here. Favorite character or characters you've written so far, and why?
Well, it's always easy to look at your latest stuff. So I'm writing a series about a knight and his now wife that takes place in the 14th century, right after the worst of the Black Death. And he's an excommunicated knight who is on a lengthy quest to get his land and title back, and meets this woman that becomes his wife. And they're just a little out of time. They are a little progressive for their era in that he makes his wife more of an equal partner in their adventures. And so she ends up saving him just as much as he saves her. But it's even though it's called historical fiction, I really think of it as an adventure book that happens to take place in the 14th century. And the way I talk about it is that in my contemporary novels, I have gunfights and car chases. And in this series, I have sword fights and horse chases. So it's just as action-packed as any of my contemporary adventures. But we set it in this time period because there's a lot of ways to create suspense, because they can't call the police to get help. They have to solve all their problems themselves. And of course, it's a very dangerous time with disease and bandits and rogue nobles who have their own agendas, and so they're always in danger and trying to help others who are in danger themselves. And so we just wanted to make it that same. I wrote 6 books with Clive Cussler in the Organ File series, and I learned a lot from him about pacing in stories. And Alyssa was talking about short stories, and the way I think of these books is that they're 85 short stories in a row, because one of the things I really like to do is create chapter ending cliffhangers. But each chapter to me is a mini story within this bigger story, and so each chapter I want to make as engaging as possible, but also leave a cliffhanger at the end of the chapter, so the reader goes, okay, I'll just read one more chapter to find out what's going to happen. And so, but I like doing that in all of my stories, whether it's set in the 14th century or set in the 21st century.
My goodness. Alexandra, of course. The Pilgrim from East Empire. Oh, Boyd Morrison, you did it.
Right. I mean, you could call Indiana Jones an historical thriller.
No, right?
But it's just an action adventure story that happens to take place in the 30s.
Right.
And it's got Alexandra. I'm sorry. Last Crusade is my all-time favorite of that series. I know a lot of people say Raiders is the top dollar, which I get. I completely get it.
Yeah, but Sean Connery,
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for the Temple of Doom.
Do you? You have a soft spot for TOD? That's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, Short Round's a good kid. He's a good kid.
Yeah. I know everyone says Willie's annoying.
Oh, she is.
She is, but 2, she's not supposed to be Marion. She's supposed to be
the opposite.
Yeah. And I appreciate when they do new things with the sequel. Like, took some risks and it was good.
Pulling a heart out of a guy's chest. That's a bit risky to give kids nightmares in 1984. I mean, my God, even. But
well, again, I mean, the melting faces didn't give you nightmares.
Well, I mean, Raiders. I mean, that's definitely the most horrifying one of them all. I hate to say it, but it's true. But Last Crusade was tame to the other 2. So I'll just say that. But you know what? It's a solid film. All 3 of them are fun because there were no sequels after the 3rd one. So let's just leave it at that.
Yeah,
right? We won't. But Boyd, it was great to have you here.
Yes,
congratulations on everything that you and your family, you and Beth have put together. This wonderful series. Congratulations on it. It is on my Amazon list. I'm going to get those things. I'm going to read those books. I'm going to enjoy the living heck out of them and give you an honest review. But in case someone wants to know more about your books, where can they follow you?
They can go to boydmorrison.com, and I'm also on Instagram, Boyd Morrison Writer, and same with Facebook.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, sir, for being here. I took the liberty of posting everyone's links in the comment section of this video, so you're more than welcome to check those out. And Boyd, we're going to support you as best we can, and good luck on your next story, okay?
Great. Thanks, and nice to see you all.
Yep. Have a good one, Boyd. Thanks for being here, man. Great to see you.
Bye.
Yep. Have a good one, kind sir. What is such a nice man. I gotta tell you, honestly. I mean, Knights, Dragons. I mean, it's hard to say no.
No, you can't go wrong with that. I'm a history buff. So
are you a history buff?
I love history. I love history. Anything with that. I mean, and
well, I mean, you know your history. It's very good. Speaking of history, favorite character or characters you've written so far, EA?
Well, of course, Deathblade is my favorite, but I would say that even before Deathblade, even before we written Deathblade, we actually have 5 other comic books that are already done, finished. We just haven't put them out because Deathblade is the conduit of those stories coming out. I would say one that I am really, really excited. Well, there's actually a couple of them, but I would say ones that I really am excited about is called The Magisters. It is a combination of Superman meets Star Wars meets Green Lantern. It is out of this world. We've been working on it for the past 3 years. Look out for it. It's a series that is going to be amazing. We're going to a lot of things people wouldn't expect. One of the things that I really try to do when I create my characters is that they have their own identity. It may resemble something, but once you really see it, it is what it is. It's its own character. You know, one of the things that, you know, it's great that people say, hey, Deathblade look like Batman, but we all know he doesn't look like Batman. He's his own, he's totally something totally different. So I would say the Magisters that we are working on is going to be amazing. Deathblade, I love Deathblade. Deathblade is, of course, you know, part of me in a way, you know, my life's journey. So I would say that would be my, you know, those would be my favorite. I like them all, but you know, I would say Magisters first, which we're working on, and that's a doozy. You heard it here. That's, and of course, Deathblade. Of course, you know, Deathblade is doing well, and we're thankful for that.
Goodness gracious. Here we go, Deathblow. No, it's Deathblade. And not only that, it sounds rad, you know. I'm just saying. But I'm just curious though, if you don't mind me asking, Alyssa, favorite character or characters you've written thus far and why?
That's kind of difficult. So when you write short stories, you get a new character all the time. And so I'm looking over probably because I'm on my 9th book now, and I would say of all the characters I've written, I love my side characters because I feel like I try my best to create very like believable characters and that kind of thing without like doing repeats and things like that. I think my two favorites kind of a loose. I think the ones I was most invested into during their creation. There is, of course, my lead character from the sci-fi work I do, who is Sister Katina Debachu, who is she in the first book. She was one of an ensemble cast that kind of became a lead in the second book. She starts off as this teenager, and she was a challenge to write because writing teenagers can be really annoying. From a teenager can become really annoying from a reader's perspective really quickly. So it's about how to balance her sounding and acting like a teenager while still making her likable and believable. And I think it helped that she was a side character in the first book and that developed into a main character by the second book. And that there's a 5-year gap between the two books. But she's very interesting for me personally because I feel like her in the first book kind of echoes a lot of how like the frustrations you feel when you are a teenager and everyone is trying to tell you who you should be and how you should act, and her kind of sort of discovering her spine by the end of the first book, so to speak, and a bit of her purpose by the end of the first book, and then seeing her go from kind of this acolyte to becoming by the end of the second book kind of like not quite a holy warrior, but kind of like a very driven, very like I don't care what happens to me, like emboldened in her faith and that kind of thing by the end of the second book. So seeing her go from being this kind of meek, a little stick up her butt kind of acolyte from the first book to becoming this kind of full-fledged person by the end of the second book, I think was very cathartic to write. And then the other character that I liked a lot, which was kind of interesting, was a character named Lieutenant Walter Finnegan, who is in my I call it the Juniper Tree duology. I'm working on the second book now to close it out. But he is he's I would say heavily inspired by Lieutenant Sharp from Sharp's Rifles. But in a pseudo historical low fantasy kind of setting. And I think part of the challenge of writing him was I'm obviously not a man, and I'm younger. I'm going to turn 28 in a couple weeks. But the challenge of writing Finnegan was, okay, I need to write the character of a man in his 40s who has lost his wife and child and make it sound authentic, writing as a young woman who at the time wasn't married and didn't have a kid yet on the horizon. So it was a challenge, but I think I met it pretty well, because Lieutenant Finnegan is one of the more talked about characters from the book. So no, those are, I would say I have like, if you ask me like what my favorite character is, I might have a different answer depending on the day, because there's one character in the second initiative, I don't want to say names, but his death actually kind of made me cry while I was writing it a little bit, because it hit me really hard. But I would say those two characters had their own unique challenges to them, and I think that's why they stand out to me.
Wow, that's a lot of character. Wow, I feel like we just got a dissertation on all 50 characters she's writing right now. If that's some of the ones she's got planned for the future, which by the way, I'm not trying to make fun of this. This is a great thing.
No.
This is like a rainbow. This is like an endless rainbow of.
Yeah, I think I call myself a speculative fiction writer, because when I started off, it was just like, I don't know what genre I'm focusing in on. I'm just kind of seeing what sticks and what works and what people are drawn to. So it started off with 3 books of weird fiction, a sci-fi thriller, followed up by a small collection, and then the low fantasy, and then people ended up liking the sci-fi thriller, so I went back to that one, and now I'm back to finishing up the duology, and it's just like, I think after this, I need to take a nap and stare at a wall and figure out what I'm doing with my life. But unfortunately,
you're doing fine,
I was going to say, maybe we could put you in cryogenic sleep or something like that. Let's just hope you don't end up on LV-426 like Ripley did.
Well, the problem is I can't take a nap quite yet, because after I finish the Beyond the Juniper Trees, which is the end of the duology, I'm actually gonna become a contracted worker for a TTRPG, Horde Wars, and do a collection for them, which is very exciting. It'll be my first like collaborative piece with a company. Everything else before that's been self-published, with the exception of a couple things in magazines here and there. But it's, I think after that, I'm just going to sit down in an easy chair and stare at a wall for about 5 minutes and collect myself and figure out where I'm going from here.
I think you know where you're going. So I think you're doing a good job. Don't be hard on yourself.
She may be a young Jedi in training here, EA, but I think she's done quite well for us. I mean, 9 books in. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
You know what's sweeter than 9 though, Alyssa? Is 10. 10 is even sweeter than 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Which we know, which we know you can get there. All 3 of us sitting here, even if Boyd were here right now, he would say the same thing.
Yep.
You can get the 10. You can get the 2 handfuls to deliver to the masses out there.
Well, at some point, I'm going to feel like, you know how once you have so many kids, you forget their names, and then you start like swapping names. I feel like at some point that's going to be my books. It's gonna be that way with books, and I'm like, which one am I talking about? I swear I know what I wrote, but like, what's his name? In this book, he did a thing.
Maybe his name is Freddy something. I don't know. Maybe his name is Alf. Anybody remember Alf? There's a rerun for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going back.
Where do you keep your casserole dishes? Why? The cat won't fit in the toaster. Sorry, I watched reruns of that growing up. I don't know if anyone else knows what that is, but I watched reruns of Alf as a kid. So
yes,
It happens. Well done, by the way. You're Kevin Feige in your own universe here, Alyssa. So well done. Kevin Feige would be impressed.
Well, they're all separate things, and it's just like the worst part is going back to one universe and then having to go back to another universe completely different and remembering where you were, because I wasn't planning on doing a sequel to the sci-fi thriller because it kind of bombed when it came out. And then, like, as I'm in the middle of writing my first book in the fantasy duology, that one picks up. People want a sequel. It's like, okay, I'll keep up with it. And now I'm on the hook for one more book in that.
Well, that's good.
We're reading your stuff, and you got to sit down and write more. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Totally opposite of what it should be,
Yeah.
And people like it. So
people like to have a catalog of your work.
yeah,
That's true.
people
having 2 or 3 books is one thing, but when you get more than 3 or 4 or 5 at a table, right? I mean, people, for those of you who've experienced this, it's like the more flavors you have. Like if you have 7 books, that's 1 book for each day of the week that someone could be reading. So
that's true.
7.
But enough about me. There are people.
I know. Who are we talking about again? Oh yeah, we're talking about how great this episode of the Writers Showcase is with this round table of guests. That's what we're talking about, right, Alyssa? Do not forget
absolutely.
to like it. Exactly, because it's a round table of wonderful people, and we want to say thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and share if you have any questions or comments, or you want to give us your dissertation of certain characters or books you've written. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to hear that as it come in. And like I said, I'm not trying to mean this as a slight against you, Alyssa.
You're
you just gave
fine.
us dissertations are very, very good to me. But Charles, I'm just curious. Do you have a character or favorite characters you've what am I trying to say here? Written so far, and why? And does one of them just happen to have a name or a feature that looks like this?
Captain Hawkland. Yeah. He's definitely up there. He's what I've called my bread and butter character. He's the one that sells the most. And I enjoy writing him. I do. I've got a couple other projects coming up with the character. And he's fun to write. And I've created a bunch of other characters within his universe. So I'm writing a series called the Stormgate Press Quick Read. So they're sort of like what Alyssa was talking about, a little short story series. They're in little anthologies. And I've created more characters to go into his universe. So I've created somewhere probably around 25 characters inside of his universe.
Say what?
I'm currently writing I guess, close to my 50th book. I haven't counted here recently. But I think out of all the characters I've created, and I'm currently writing the 3rd book in the Serena Darkwood series. I think the most interesting character that I created is called Night Vision. And he grew up he's set in the 1930s. He's in the Captain Hawkland universe. He grew up in a household where his father was abusive and beat him and his mother. And he took a hit to the head so many times that it caused day blindness. And but that also gave him the ability that during the day he has visions of crimes that's going to happen at night, robberies, murders, just different kinds of crimes. And then he's got to decide which crime is the most important to stop, who to save. And that along the way starts to grind at him mentally. And he has to fight through these visions and trying to get people to believe what he's seeing, to the point where he ends up putting on a costume and going out at night to try to save these people. He's one of my most interesting characters I like to write. And eventually he's going to fall into a novel with all of the Captain Hawkins characters together, in a sort of a pulp Avengers kind of type story.
Oh,
Nice.
snaps. Am I going to hear some Sylvester in the background?
This might.
No? I mean, yeah. Da, 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 I mean, are we going to hear some of that? I mean, that'd be pretty cool, man. You get Hawklands, you get him, you get the Night Vision, you get Zane Carrington, who's another spin-off character, right? Zane Carrington's another one?
I'm going to start I have a Patreon page, so I'm going to start a serialized Zane Carrington novel, and I'll drop it starting in January, and I'll drop a chapter a month, unedited. You're going to read it raw, and then eventually, after it drops on Patreon, it'll be edited and released as a novel online.
Oh, nice.
Man,
Nice.
look at this guy.
Traveling, a lot of stuff. And I'm
You're-
sure
yeah.
you all know what that's like. So
I mean, yeah, I got a few stories that I've written. One of them is in the process of being edited, and then I got, the notebook here with a bunch of ideas that I want to dive into at some point. So yeah, this brain, for some odd reason, just always is turning the wheels when it comes to coming up with ideas or characters, something I may want to tackle, or a genre I may want to tackle that I haven't tackled. Because writing westerns is fun, because I mean, granted, I didn't grow up watching westerns at all. I didn't watch them until years later, right? I joined them. I became a fan of it after the fact, right, Charles? I watched the Eastwoods, some of the other classic westerns, and then I started watching
Gunsmoke.
Yeah, there's that. I started, I grew
Cartwrights.
I grew up watching Longmire and Hell on
Yep.
Wheels and
Yeah.
Justified with Raylan Givens kicking ass and taking names, laying the smackdown.
did you watch Bass Reeves?
I know what it is, but I've never seen it. I know what it is, but I've never seen it.
No, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a good one. Are they coming out with that show again? Because they stopped for a bit.
Did they cancel it?
I don't know if they're going to do the guy who did the
What's his name?
who was the guy who created the Yellowstone series?
Oh,
Was
Taylor
he-
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
or not.
it ended with a cliffhanger. So I'm
Oh, did
trying to
it?
figure out. Yeah, I'm trying to
Wow.
figure out if they're going to come out again, because it was good. It was very good.
I heard it was. I just haven't seen it, so I'm sorry to say, Charles, I'm a bit behind on a lot of things. It's what happens when you work 43 hours a week.
I wrote a Western too, but didn't write it under my name. I wrote it under a name, Howard Donovan. Wrote it under pseudonym.
Which, but by the way, not to put you on the spot, are we going to get a Rugged Part 2?
I'm working on the idea of doing a Rugged Part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that story was so good, man.
I'm glad you liked it.
Are you kidding me? I gave you an honest review on Goodreads, my friend.
I enjoy it. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad everybody who has read it, I wish more people would read it.
Oh, if you're a Western fan of any stretch, read that Rugged, the first one, Howard Donovan, the pen name of our good friend Charles here. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it's really, dude, it's I love Westerns, but that one was like, okay, they're on a trail. They're trying to get from point A to point B, but there are all these different enemies that are coming after him, Charles.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. And I thought to myself, if this was a miniseries or even even so, like if it were an animated film, I'd still watch it.
Yeah, one of my favorite Westerns of all time, in book and miniseries, was Lonesome Dove. So
Lonesome Dove.
Yeah, Lonesome Dove.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's another one. See, there's another good example of that. But yeah, no, it's Western's very, very good to me. I'm sorry.
Well, I think, like I said, I've watched Gunsmoke.
Did you watch everything? You watched
I watched
everything.
everything. I watched everything. I'm a
you
huge
didn't miss
Western
one
fan.
iota when you woke up on Saturday morning to watch all those shows and cartoons, man.
I watched it during the week.
Did you?
Get
Every
Gunsmoke, Long Ranger. We used to watch Zorro. We used to watch all of it. Yeah, we used to watch all of that.
They're
And so,
fucks.
yeah. I mean, those shows are just. I mean,
they're priceless.
Well, like I said,
I know
70s, 80s kid.
You may
I'm
be
an 80s
25,
kid.
but you're not really 25.
Yeah, I'm an 80s kid. I tell people, and there's no shame in my game. That's the best.
It's a good decade
ever.
Knight Rider.
Knight Rider.
Knight Rider,
Incredible
awesome.
Hawk. Lou
Even
Ferrigno
was
Lou Ferrigno is my original Incredible Hawk. It was amazing. And then
Bill
you had
Bixby.
Christopher Reeves. Yep, Christopher Reeves playing Superman, which I think is
forget
the best
that John
Superman
Williams theme.
Oh, Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Yes,
dude. Charles.
That's
Okay, you got to go back and watch the tape that we did earlier today with Freddie Parks Jr., who commented in the chat earlier. He watched that, and he liked it. And not only that, he got reminded of the fact that is the story or show that inspired Tailspin on Disney.
Yes, sure is.
And I remember watching little bits and pieces of reruns of Tailspin as a kid. Granted, I was more of a DuckTales and Chippendale Rescue Rangers sort of kid at the time, but Tailspin, I mean, it's Baloo from Jungle Book in every episode, and I'm just like, that's pretty cool. He got another job.
Not to get off topic, but Tales of the Gold Monkey was going to have a second season.
Really?
But ABC wanted him to retool the series, and Belisario said no, and he pulled the plug on it.
Really? Wow. Did anyone else know this?
Mm.
I didn't know.
Well, I mean that's Hollywood. You know, they
They like to
they
abuse
can be
that
their own
power.
worst enemy. They could be their own worst.
They
enemy.
do it every day.
I mean, Netflix has been known for
Yeah.
killing shows, and then all of a sudden,
Well,
That's the
did
problem.
you guys see I don't know if you guys saw the newest news, but on the same topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently, I know I'm going to say his name wrong. Glendy Taraskovsky or something. The guy who did Samurai Jack and Primal.
Samurai Jack, yeah.
He wanted to in 2019. Apparently, he pitched this this knight who had a 20-foot armor, like
What?
mech kind of thing, going up
Whoa.
against ninjas. And they released the test footage, but Sony apparently said they weren't sure if it was going to find an audience.
Wow.
so what happened? He took it somewhere else.
No, he I think he released the test
that was
footage
it?
to kind of it.
Like a
I'm not
pilot.
sure. Well, it's like a
Unmarked
3-minute clip of like him going toe to toe as like this giant mech versus like this like ninja.
Oh, it's a preview.
Like
Okay.
a preview.
It was a
A
preview.
trailer,
footage.
like a,
Yeah,
It's like a teaser for a trailer.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is probably one of the coolest things
And it didn't
I've
get picked
seen
up.
in a while.
Mm.
And so
Well-
I think it's either he's trying to show Sony that people would be interested, or he's like shopping it around potentially for
Probably shop-
somebody else.
I think the
Yeah.
problem,
Pick it up.
the problem with Hollywood, one of the things that I find is that the guys that are up top, they're not creators. They were never creators. They're number crunchers.
And they don't want to take a chance on an unknown
They're number-
IP.
Right. They're number crunchers. I mean, I've sat in front of some of the biggest executives. I had one executive I sat down and I pitched the show to him, and he loved it. The only reason why he felt that I was young, that I was new, that he couldn't control me.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I was like, look, dude, I just want to create something, get it out there, let it do what it do. It has the ability to do that.
Yeah,
but a lot of these guys, they're not writers.
They're not risk takers.
It's like if the guy who created Samurai Jack and Primal can't show like this kind of thing and
another kind of vision.
Yeah. It's just like,
but it gets stuck out because you never know. They may have a show that may not be like that, but it could be similar. It could say, well, hey, we don't want that show to take that out. And that happens. That happens a lot. And that's one of the reasons why being an independent creator is the beauty of it. You don't have to sit up there and wait for them. Now, the part is money, funding. Yeah, you have creative control. Funding is
shaking my jar of
shaking that jar. Ooh, money.
My
finding the right funders. Finding the right funders.
All those
I remember leaving a convention once. It was I'm not gonna name names. It was the turnout wasn't great.
Okay.
I didn't really make it as much back as I thought I would. And then I was like, well, at least I can pay my editor when I get home.
Money. Wow, that's tough. And that's another thing we've actually, there was an article that came out. I don't know if anyone caught this earlier this week in social media. Speaking of current events, someone posted, it was either a link to an article or they were speaking their mind. It was one of the two, of how prices have increased so much so for exhibitors at conventions that it's making it tougher and tougher in the market. To get them out there and the table, and to not only get the table, but to sell enough copies of their material so they can make back their money, break even, and still have enough money to put gas in the car and get back home. Because conventions now, especially nowadays, from what I've been told and the sources that have been quoted towards me, are saying, hey, prices have gone up 500%. They're focusing too much on the celebrities and not enough on Artist Alley and what's it called? Exhibitors Alley. They're not focusing enough on that anymore. It's kind of going the way of, I hate to say this, but people are kind of making it out to be like it's going the way of the dodo. And that's unfair because some of the most creative and smartest people, I mean, for me anyway, the most intelligent people I've met in the world is you find people sitting at this table. Boyd Morrison is one of the most creative people I've met. Bobby Nash, Brian K. Morris, Cindy Kep, all these wonderful folks that we know in our circles of indie writers, right? Indie writers, indie publishers, all that kind of stuff. they're the most creative people I know. And if they pitch something to me, I'm going to support it as best I can because I just know that they have the fire, they have the energy, they have the passion, they have the drive. And I know they can do it. But once again, we brought this back to something we were speaking about earlier. It's all about money.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
that's
it's not an
and-
easy thing to accomplish. It is not an easy thing to do, but I support them as best I can. If I can't contribute to their Kickstarter, the least you can do is make a comment or share the link,
yeah.
Right.
And well, it's
or even the Patreon. You can share the Patreon.
well on the convention front. I did conventions throughout the year for a while, and I think it some of it comes down to hotel pricing because
my
that
God.
has gotten radically worse.
Mhm.
Like if I'm going away for a 3-day convention, my expenses going into a convention usually end up being like, unless I'm gonna just go for a Ramada, which is terrible, and there's gonna be cigarette burns in the sheets. I'm probably going to be dropping around I'm going to be going into the convention with about $500 in expenses, and that's not counting books orders. That's not counting gas. That's not counting food. So it's probably going to be between like 500. I have to make $500 to $600 just to break even on just what's going into the weekend. And then, so when you think about it, it's okay. So I have most of my books I try to make like $15 unless it's like a hardback. So to break even on this kind of thing, it usually means that I have to sell like 40, like off the top of my head, I don't have a calculator and I'm terrible at math. Like I have to sell like 40 to 50 books to make a profit at a weekend convention. And then who knows what other hidden costs are going to come up along the way. That doesn't count mileage on cars. And then you get into the problem of, I think a lot of conventions, especially ones that have been around for a while, are refusing to innovate. Especially the ones that have been like ones that have been around for 20, 30 years. There's a way that they've done things for a while and it's worked for a while, but post-COVID, like a lot of them got like their legs taken out from underneath them, in that sort of way. And I think some of them are trying to innovate and bring in more people, but there's a lot of growing pains. A lot of things changed up. I feel like in terms of the industry. So I'm not necessarily mad at conventions. And I don't necessarily blame them for bringing in celebrities, but it's just, it's hard to, as a, I used to go to conventions a lot, like pre me getting married. Like I'd go probably to 7 or 8, maybe more a year. And then once 2023 hit, it's just the economy really got hit bad when it came to conventions. And it went from me making like a $300 to $400, $500 profit at some of these conventions to I broke even and then some. And I have to drive back 4 hours and just feel tired and gross. And I have to go to work Monday. Like that kind of.
Yep.
That kind of.
That's and you know.
Yep.
I definitely feel your pain. I mean, for us, for
taking time off from work, that's a big factor.
Yeah,
I mean,
plus, like you lose money because you have to take off maybe like Friday or even like Thursday. You have to drive up Thursday.
Unless you can use vacation or PTO, like unless you can use one of those.
Which is one of the things that I'm going to be facing for the first time. We're going to be doing our first Comic-Con is going to be Spooky Empire Con in Orlando.
I'm familiar with them.
Now, they normally have it in Tampa, but they said they had such a response of people who wanted to come that they had to change venues.
Wow.
Because they're normally in Tampa, but they pushed it. They moved it to Orlando. And actually for us, you know, we're just testing the market. We're just trying to figure out where we fit.
Testing the waters.
Testing the waters. And just we're sharing a table with another
publisher?
Another publisher.
Okay.
Another huge publisher who's trying to sign me. Yeah, they're trying to sign me, but I'm like, okay, that's nice, but let me see what I can do on my own, you know.
With your own space,
in my own space. And so I'm sharing the booth with them, and which is I'm gonna get a chance to see how that works. But I think, and Charles, you can correct me if wrong. You've been in the comic book industry a little bit longer than I have, but I feel that if you go to smaller shows that really gears toward comic, people who are in your exhibitors who are in your genre, you may get a better response. Because when I first came, I was like, I'm going to go to every big show. I'm going to go to HeroCon. I'm going to go to Dragon Con. Those shows are big. I mean,
humongous.
They're humongous. They're large numbers. And of course, they got the stars. They're bringing the stars.
Right.
And that's great. But for me, and what I've learned, and what people who I have, our consultant who works with us, has told us, Ed, you need to go to smaller shows. You are a horror genre, so if you go to those smaller shows, you'll get a better response, because those are comic book readers.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They're not interested in seeing stars.
It's a great way to cut your teeth, get your bearings, figure out what works, what doesn't. Because perfect example, I was at a horror themed book festival a few weeks ago here in the state of Maryland, where I'm from, here in the Northeast United States.
Okay.
And writers were writing on their comment board saying, hey, I had a great weekend. I sold more books than I did the year before. And the audience turnout was really good. The layout was, and this is, by the way, this is a show that's been around for only 5 years, and they just switched venues for this year in year 5.
Wow.
So they switched venues, and it was at the fairgrounds area, and they had 2 different halls, one for vendors, one for celebrities, as well as an extension of the vendors table too. And granted, they're working out the kinks. Nothing was perfect, and people wrote, hey, you may want to think about moving this over here and putting that over there. But overall, the response was very, very good to them. And the response was, hey, we sold more books. People came, they saw, we conquered, we made money. And it's a great show for indie creators. And I said, you know what? And I looked at the owner of the show. His name's Harry, and he actually just signed up to be a guest on In I Quote in 2026. Huzzah!
Nice.
And I said, hey, Harry, I just want to let you know something. First of all, this was a fun show. I may not be the biggest fan of the genre of horror, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a big horror fan, but I respect the genre for what it is. And the fact that you have so many different authors of other genres that you welcome here at this convention, and you want authors of other genres, not just horror, but you want fantasy, sword and sorcery, speculative fiction, historical fiction, kind of like what Boy was doing. The fact that you're welcoming all these different writers and not just you're restricting it to one genre, that says something. And I said, once I get more stories under my belt, I get more experience, I get more, I need more experience, because I only have one story out right now, which is great. One story is very, very good to you, but having more is even better. And once I do, I said, Harry, I'm going to be tabling at the show next year, because I like what I see, I like what I hear. The people here, the vibe is good, brother. Yeah. And and everyone's so nice to each other, and they don't compete, they don't complain, they don't moan about it.
Should be.
And that's the way it should be at all shows, but there are some shows that stick out like a sore thumb, Charles.
I've had some run-ins.
Yeah, you've had some situations that may or not come your way, right? But my experience at Fright Reads Book Festival in Maryland, what's up? They're great. And I said, Harry, I'm going to be tabling here next year, because I like what I see. You got the Charm City Ghostbusters over here. You got another cosplay organization over here. And by the way, the Charm City Ghostbusters were raising money the entire weekend for a wonderful charity called the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which is one of the most well-respected, I don't know if anyone's familiar with it or not, but it's one of the most respected charities in the world. And I'm like, dude, that is freaking awesome. Not only is this a festival for people to come and like buy books and everything else, and they had a few celebrity guests there, but it was heavily more focused on vendors than it was celebrities.
So I tend to do shows that are with a 5-hour radius of my house.
5-hour radius. Okay.
I try to do shows that are only one day.
Yep.
I have done some 2-day. I do a 4-day show. That's Pulp Fest, and that's really worth doing. But I don't do shows that have big stars. Ones that kind of focus on independent creators like ourselves. There are 3 shows I do a year that I get the tables for free. So those are worth doing. And if you can get into some of these shows and get to know the promoters, eventually start inviting you as guests, and the tables are free. I learned that from Brian Morris. So
BKM.
Yeah, he's kind of my mentor. All hail Brian K. Morris. So that's what you need to do. Stay within your area. The closest show I do to me is 5 minutes away. and the furthest one I do is in Mars, Pennsylvania, and that's
Okay.
a 5-hour limit right there.
Mhm.
So Charles, where are you located at?
I'm in Athens, Ohio, which is in the southeastern part of Ohio.
Mhm.
Okay, that's over there by.
We're an hour and a half southeast of Columbus.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because
Columbus.
I used to live in Dayton.
Oh,
So
Dayton.
yeah.
We have Ohio University as our university here,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that's where I'm from. So I do a lot of stuff in West Virginia, and I have family in West Virginia, so I can spend
Oh,
when
so
I
that's
do
another reason why you keep going back. Okay,
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, because see, that's what I was. That's
I respect
kind of
that.
what I. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of looking at. I'm here in Atlanta, so I'm
Hot
looking
Atlanta.
at. I'm looking at venues that are close.
Yeah.
North Carolina, small venues that
Mhm.
have that geared toward comic book readers.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I would love to do New York. They say New York Comic Con is actually pretty
The
big.
Javits Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I think
monster too.
there should be
Mhm.
a lot of conventions in the Atlanta area, I would
Oh
think.
yeah,
There's
there's a big
the
community out there.
yeah,
Mhm.
there is the MomoCon.
Oh, there's Momo. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
MomoCon, you
I'm familiar with
have Dragon Con, of course, and then you have the Atlantic Comic Con, but I heard it was terrible. I heard it was
Ooh,
just bad.
okay, fair
It
enough.
really
Also,
did.
I want to look into libraries too, because libraries will have small one-day festivals.
Oh, for
Yes, they
sure.
Yeah.
do.
I've never
Yeah.
run across a library where they charge you for a table, so you got a one-day show. It's usually about 4 or 5 hours long. You get a free
Mhm.
table, you make some sales, and you get some readers, and you go home happy. At least I do, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the unorthodox way,
Mhm.
because those add up.
Yeah.
Those add up. Those little things kind of get you going, and that's where
Get
we're
the
kind
gears
of
going.
Well,
get the
it's
gears going.
Turns the
Right?
engine on.
I live in the eastern shore of Maryland, so
Okay.
Yay, Marylanders!
it's about a 2-hour hike to most
Mhm.
conventions in my
Wow.
area that are set
Mhm.
up. So
Well,
there's been a couple that have been within the hour, like around an hour, which is it's usually in Delaware, but
oh,
it's not. It's usually speaking, unless I get lucky, most of the time it's going to be at least a 2-hour drive
mm.
to get anywhere.
Have you
Which
thought
is-
about it? Have you thought about Ocean City Comic Con?
Oh, that's one of my normal.
That's a
everyday-
good one.
Yeah,
Because I was going to say that.
That's a good one. I heard.
You want to talk Maryland history? I know the owner of that show.
No,
and
no,
he was,
that was my first convention
he's like
I
a
ever
really
went
cool
to.
dude.
I wanted to
James Stufendock is just an amazing.
Oh my gosh, he was at Fright
amazing
Reads.
guy.
a
They're
couple weeks
sold
ago.
out.
I saw him
Yeah.
at Fright. Yeah, I saw him at Fright
Yeah.
Reads, and he was
I
like,
am going to be. I'm giving birth around January the 20th.
"Oh, so you."
I'm going to
okay.
be around 8 months pregnant, but I have
Yeah.
my booth set up there. I've been doing that every single year since
year?
2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's one of my flagship places that I go.
I hear it's a good
So
show.
yeah,
could-
Yeah,
no,
it is. Yeah, I heard it's
Yeah.
a good show
Vote it
too.
like that.
Yeah.
Come buy a book and possibly see a birth. So,
I'm really
Yeah.
hoping. I don't think James would be happy if I broke water.
James.
He's polite enough that I don't think he'd say anything. Like he might
Mhm.
make a joke about it, but like
Okay.
I don't think he'd really be happy from the insurance angle of me giving
Oh,
Oh,
birth
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, that'd
at
be
Ocean
kinda
City
tough.
Comic Con.
But
He's a
you-
cool dude, though.
But
Yeah.
I heard the Ocean Comic Con is very hard to get in because I know I was trying to get in for this
Well, it's-
upcoming year because it's
I-
sold out. It
Well,
sells out like
that's part of the reason why I'm trying to stay in, even if I'm going to be like 8 months along, because it can be pretty tight getting in there. Like that's why.
it's hard to get in there. I mean, I tried to get in there last year when we were just
Yeah.
starting.
Because years
and-
ago, it used to be a one-day thing. Now it's a two-day thing because of how big
Yeah,
it's gotten
it's-
over the
yeah.
years.
It's a very, very good convention. If
I
you
think
can
it's
do
better
it.
than the Baltimore Comic Con.
BCC?
Yeah,
No
I
kidding.
think it's better because the independent artists there were saying that the Baltimore Comic Con just
Not good.
they said they were bringing in more of the stars, but they really weren't helping the independent,
Well, it's
creators.
I think part of it is also the area, because if you're going to stay in Baltimore, you have to be very careful about where you stay, and you're probably going to end up spending more money to
It's a bit pricey over here in Maryland.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's New York. I was looking at one in Washington, and it's just like, okay, if I do say Awesome Con
Yep,
or
that's a
like
big
things
one. I've
like
been to
that.
that.
Awesome
in New
Con
York.
is a good one.
That's
I
a
get
big
it.
dog. That's a big
Yeah.
show right there.
Yeah, like if I did that, I would
Good show, too.
probably only be able to foot the bill for maybe 2 other conventions that year because the booth itself would probably be at least $500 to $1,000 easily.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 500, I guess for me, I guess I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
to me is not bad.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about 1,500 like New York, even the Comic-Con, the
How
big
do they
ones.
get these numbers? God,
That's crazy.
Well, it's part of it is
it's outrageous.
I email. Well, it is kind of what it is because also in space is limited, and they want to make sure that the people who are going to be there aren't going to be like jokers who don't show up.
Oh, I
daily.
see what you mean.
Yeah, because there's plenty of people who
Committed to the
just
schedule and the craft.
they want people to want to be there. I was actually going to do one in Georgia this year, and then I found out, I'm pregnant. I don't necessarily want to drive 10 hours, 7 months pregnant.
Which one was you trying to do in Georgia?
I was gonna do
You remember?
the creature feature weekend.
Yeah, is that in Savannah or is that in
Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah,
I was gonna,
he's cool.
I was gonna do that one. I put in the money. I was really excited. Got the hotel reservation. It was gonna be my first big one, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a baby in January. I'm gonna be driving 10 hours to Savannah, Georgia.
You have other priorities right now.
Yeah,
7 months pregnant.
Yeah, you don't want that
maintaining
drive.
your health and taking care of that wonderful child of yours is going to be priority one. So
definitely
I'm do that show in Savannah. I got a nephew that lives in Savannah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stay with him. That would be perfect.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Well,
Isn't that the home? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the name of the Savannah Bananas? Is that where that comes from?
I don't know.
The baseball team. The Savannah Bananas. Does anyone know? Okay, never mind. By the way,
I'm actually looking more into like online conventions as well.
Oh,
sure.
That's becoming a big
cons,
becoming a big thing now. I think
since COVID that started really kicking up.
Which one?
Yeah. There's
Is there another one that picked up recently?
well, there's one that was invited to do panels on. It's a smaller, it was first year, but it's like DelverCon. It was started by a guy named Bill Sylvie. He goes by Dungeon Delver on Twitter.
Oh, geez.
Or X or whatever. He's kind of he's like in the indie crowd, he's like a smaller, bigger name, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not like a 30,000 follower person, but he's got a nice sized following. So I might invest into more of those, especially with that when I have a young baby coming out.
Yeah, those are
other priorities.
Yeah, those are pretty good ideas. I think it saves on money for the independent creators.
Libraries.
I guess my only thing is how many foot traffic will we get?
Yeah.
Through that purchase. That would be the only thing that I would
but I think for 2027, because I think I might be taking a break for most of 2026.
Right. Understandable.
I think in 2027, I'm probably going to pick like three big conventions to do, big quote unquote.
Right.
And then maybe do like smaller kind of local things in between. But that way I'm not rushing off all over the place and just trying to get back into it, that sort of thing.
Baby steps. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Yeah.
By the way, Stephen in the chat, I don't know if he was referring to what you were saying earlier about going to Ocean City Comic Con. He says maybe they would be less upset if you gave them naming rights.
Hi, Steve. I hope you're still there. No, Steve's one of my people from Twitter. I have a little bit. I don't know how it happened, but I ended up I have like 5,500 followers on Twitter.
Wow.
Which is odd to me, but
hey,
that's good. That's good.
Well, honestly, that's where I sell most of my books.
Hey,
I
was going to say whatever works. And once again, this has been working very well with this whole explanation of how we can improve our touring and get our names out there, our books out there, or short stories in some cases out there on the Writer Showcase. Don't forget to like and share if you have any questions for our esteemed, or you just want to keep going on about how if you give Ocean City Comic Con naming rights, maybe they'll let you in.
No,
Let us know in the
We've already-
comments. Let us know in the chat. Yeah, but I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, something I am going to do next year or maybe the year after, once I get more experience under my belt, is I am going to do local libraries because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
You do them everywhere, and you don't even have to drive that far. And the other thing was when we were talking about Fright Reads earlier, that's only a 30-minute drive from me. That's like that's not even 35 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So that would work for me. For those of you who live in the great state of Maryland, just what am I trying to say earlier? Throwing that out there. What is an author, living or dead, you'd like to have a conversation with, E.A. Brown?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Living or dead?
I mean, if there was an author that I would love, it would be Jack Kirby, who is. I used to watch New Gods, just his artwork. He's just incredible. I would love to pick his brain. I would love to pick his brain how he came up with
the Forever People.
Yeah, I just thought he's just amazing. Another guy is Dwayne McDuffie. He actually started. He was actually the first Black Universe comic to actually come out.
Really?
Icon and all them. Yeah, he was the first, and he actually used to work for Marvel. He's excellent, and actually some of the creations from Marvel on their animation was through him. People may not even know that. So those two, I definitely, and I'm a Spider-Man, Superman type of thing, but those two were just different. Just their stories, the characters that they created were interesting, and they were out the box. And that's, I would love to sit there and just
pick his brain
and just say, hey, what, take it from there. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
I could just hear it in my back. Well, maybe not so much the conversation, but hear the theme song, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Never mind. Charles F. Millhouse, I got to ask you, brother, who's an author, living or dead, you'd love to have a conversation with right now?
Frank Herbert. And William F. Nolan, who wrote Logan's Run.
Oh, Logan's Run.
Oh, yeah, that's a good.
Several years ago, I commented on one of his Twitter posts, and this is before I really started. Actually, right when Twitter first came out, 2009, 2010. And I commented on one of his posts, and he replied to me, "It's always nice to meet a fellow writer," and that really. Even though I hadn't really published anything yet, for the most part, it really meant something to me. So if I had a chance to talk to him or Frank Herbert, I would love to pick their brains about science fiction and their process of creating and writing. I did get to meet Terry Nation. He was the creator of the Daleks for Doctor Who. I met him at a convention several years ago, and was able to have dinner with him and talk to him for about 90 minutes about writing, and that was in the late 90s, about 98. And when I walked out of that conversation, I knew I wanted to be a writer. But Frank Herbert and William F. Nolan, probably, if I had a chance to talk to them in a seance or something, I would love to do that.
A seance.
Ouija board out. Let's go.
Yeah. You want me to call Sam and Dean Winchester over there for you, or what?
Yeah.
Maybe they can help you out. We can play some Kansas in the background. Carry on my wayward son. Anybody remember that? So just throwing that out there. But good names, though, Charles. Good names. I'm not going to lie about that. Alyssa, do you have an author, or maybe even two, even though E.A. Brown likes to cheat on all these questions to the exam here? I don't know why you keep doing this to me, man. But do you have an author or two that are living or dead, buried 6 feet under?
I threw out 4, so I don't.
I mean, he named off 4, so everyone's breaking the rules and copying off other people's papers.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if I'd want a conversation, but I would love to be a fly on the wall for one of 2 conversations.
Oh, really?
All right. A conversation between Tolkien and C.S. Lewis.
Oh,
I would just love,
that's
especially if they're having a fight. I want to see them. I want to see them debate. I want to see them get a little tipsy at their local pub and go after each other for C.S. Lewis having Santa Claus in his.
In the
in
Chronicles
his
of Narnia.
yeah,
Yeah.
just something like that. Or I would love to see an interaction between Clark Ashton Smith, H.P. Lovecraft, and Robert E. Howard, because apparently they were
Whoa.
all pen pals and friends. So I
Really?
just well, they were pen pals, and so it's very funny to me, like on a personal level, picturing
Wow.
Robert E. Howard, who's this like towering Texan,
Oh God.
Clark Ashton Smith, who's like this like kind of like lean kind of guy, and then there's H.P. Lovecraft, who I love his work, but I kind of picture him a little bit as the guy who like ate glue in his
God.
class,
What's
and
going
like
on?
and then, like ate like mayonnaise on crackers, and then went home to his mom when
Huh?
like the other kids picked on him at school. A little bit, but I would love to see
Wow.
the three of them interact with each other in like a pub setting, because I just think that would be wildly entertaining to see like the dynamic between these three kind of fathers of the pulp and weird fiction genres kind of coming together to, I don't know. I've had them on my brain recently because like I finished reading Dark Eidolon and Other
Oh.
Stories by Clark Ashton Smith recently, and he actually wrote a poem. And I don't know if this is just because I'm pregnant and hormones are going off, but it made me cry because he had a poem dedicated to H.P. Lovecraft after his death, and then I realized, okay, Robert E. Howard died in his when he was 30.
Mm-hmm.
H.P. Lovecraft died in his like early to mid 40s. Clark Ashton Smith died when he was 73, and I can't imagine what it must be like to outlive two of your friends by almost 30 years. And I'm just like, that's just got to be like, because apparently Clark Ashton Smith didn't write a lot later on, but I just got to imagine like to have two of your pen pal writing buddies just kind of leave you behind in that kind of sense. It's just, I don't know, it's just been kind of one of those melancholy thoughts I've had in my head for a couple of days now. But I would love to see them like in life, like vibrant and happy and playing off each other and talking about the Cthulhu mythos and asking Lovecraft if they could borrow this or what they thought of this and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think that would be an interesting conversation to watch.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Now I'm picturing what is it? Robert E. Howard going up to H.P. Lovecraft and borrowing that scene that we saw in that movie from ages ago, and he looks at him and says, "H.P., you son of a bitch." And they
Like
do
that kind of thing.
they do the man shake sequence from
But
Predator.
HP is just like,
You know what I'm? Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that'd be funny. I mean, I know it's never gonna happen, but
well, I don't know if they met in real life or they just did pen pal. But I
Okay,
just,
but if they did-
but if they were all together in a
if
room,
they did,
like seeing these three
Yeah,
guys just
it'd be pretty
interact.
cool.
I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. I think if Robert E. Howard went up to HP and pulled a, Arnold to,
Like,
you know,
I've seen pictures of Robert E. Howard. He's just this like
mhm.
unit of a man. You can
Yeah.
tell he's from Texas. You don't
Yeah.
even have to.
Maybe he
you
was
don't
part
even.
of the Brute Squad.
Yeah, I am the Boot Squad.
See what I did there? You are the Boot Squad.
Yeah.
Anybody remember this? But
Yeah.
and by the way, I don't know if there's been a biopic made about this yet, but I would love to see a biopic or a documentary about I mean, there's probably been a few, but I want to see a more in-depth documentary about the friendship between C.S. Lewis and J.R. That would be like I would watch, even if it was
I
a
think
3-hour.
they did one fairly recently, like
Is
the
there a movie?
mid 2010s. I think it was a lower budget kind of thing. It was, I think it was talking about how C.S. Lewis came to Christianity through his relationship with J.R.R. Tolkien.
Right.
Because before that, he wasn't a Christian, and then like how that relationship dynamic there.
I'd love to see a movie like that.
Yeah, there's just
That's fascinating stuff for sure. And I got a few of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien's. But well, I haven't added Fellowship of the Ring yet, but I'm gonna. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna give Fellowship of the Ring a shot and see where it goes. I mean, and The Hobbit too. I'm gonna read The Hobbit because everyone says how great The Hobbit is. So it's like if you're gonna read it, Tolkien, you gotta start with The Hobbit and then go to the rings.
You got to level up. Hobbit,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion, yeah, exactly. Which that's not exactly light reading there, Charles. That is not
Yeah.
light reading at all. But it's heavy, Doc. It's heavy.
Yeah.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Yeah.
Anyway, author I'd like to have a conversation with, living or dead. If I had to throw this one in the into the fires here, I mean, first of all, as a kid, I read her books when I was a little boy. Gail Gibbons wrote a lot of great children's books. So I would like to have a conversation with her. I believe she's still alive, though. I don't think she's passed away, but I would like to have a conversation with her. Second author I would like to sit down and talk with is K.A. Applegate, the author of the Animorphs book series from the 90s, early 2000s, whatever it was. I think it's the 90s, though, primarily the 90s. And if we're going even deeper than that, I mean, I've already met some of the biggest names in the world. I mean, I've had conversations with Charles F. Milhouse. I've had in-depth conversations. I know. I've had in-depth conversations with Bobby Nash on one side of the fence here. We talked to Brian K. Morris a number of times, which Brian K. Morris doesn't know when to be quiet, but I love him anyway. No, I'm just kidding, Charles. I love him anyway. He's great. But yeah, no, I mean, there's endless writers I like to have. I mean, Louis L'Amour sounds like a fascinating person to have a conversation with, doesn't he, Charles?
Yeah.
That one for sure. Don't forget about him. But yeah, what was it? Alyssa, I'm surprised you didn't say the writer of Night Stalker, Kolchak.
Well, I mean, are we talking television writers, or because he is technically a screenplay writer?
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. I
Yeah.
did mean it for book writers, but I thought
Yeah.
Kolchak was a series of books before it was a television series. But
Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
that's the weird thing is I think they adapted it into novels after
Oh, sorry.
the show came out.
I got my history.
No,
I got
you're
my
fine, you're
facts
fine.
mixed up. My bad.
Your first homework assignment is actually to watch the series. So add that to the long list of things you need to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of writer friends out there who are big Kolchak the Night Stalker
You can
fans.
watch Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing. Go do it now.
Well, it's. I mean, October's the spooky month after
That's
all.
right.
It's a good
Charles
time.
Charles is kind of piggybacking off what you're saying. It's like, Ryan, just do it already. You're wasting your
I'll
time.
get my copy out and start watching next week. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, well, if you got a copy of it, I mean, hey, everybody wins. But I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all these wonderful writers here who have taken the opportunity to sit down with us and talk about writing and the process and things we can do to, whether it's the rewards of writing, the challenges, and some of the pieces of advice we've offered as we go throughout the course of these proceedings. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you. And Boyd, thank you for joining us for the first half of this episode of the Writer Showcase. But E.A. Brown, you, good sir, are a gentleman and a scholar, and you're so money you don't even know it. But if someone wants to know more about you, and they want to throw some of that money at you, I'm just saying, you're so money, man. But if they want to follow you, where can they follow you?
They can follow us on @Deathblade AWK, or you can go to our brand new website, which is SkullValleyComics.com, and actually our book Deathblade, the first 7 pages are free. You could actually view it, and we want you to rate it. We want to hear from you guys, so you can definitely reach us that way.
Rock on, man. Rock on. Alyssa, my dear Alyssa, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us some knowledge, great tips and tricks on how to move forward with our storytelling. But if someone wants to know more about you and support you and your books, where can they follow you?
So I am on Facebook and Instagram as @author Alyssa Hazel, but I am on X as Alyssa Hazel, so an extra S thrown in there. All of my books are available through Amazon, but right now we have 3 days left on an Indiegogo project, which is for Battleborn magazine, which is a new kind of revamping of Sword and Sorcery. It's going to feature the first issue is going to feature a never before published story by Howard Andrew Jones. It's going to have stuff from Eric Wagg and a bunch of other people. And they're also planning on reprinting short stories that have been out of print since like the 70s or 80s. It's already hit the first tier and crossed the second tier, so we only have a couple days left. And the digital releases for issues 2 and 3 are secure, but we're still working on the physical versions. So if you are interested, it can be found on Indiegogo as Battleborn magazine. And one of my short story I mentioned earlier, 10 Arrows, is set to be featured, I believe, in the second issue. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It was great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you again. And congratulations on the upcoming birth of the going to be a new addition to the family.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep doing your thing. Be safe, and we wish you and your family nothing but happiness.
you.
So definitely keep that in mind. Thank you for being here, Charles F. Millhouse, the chairman of the board of that Gaiety of Storms. I'm just curious. If someone wants to know more about you and support your endeavors and purchase some of those ridiculously good-looking books, where can they follow you?
They can find me on two websites. The first one is stormgatepress.com, and that encompasses everything that I have written and published. Or they can go to choosetheadventure.net, and that is the Captain Hawkland official website. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky. Also Patreon under the name of Writer Millhouse. It's just easy. Just type that in on all those platforms, and you should be able to find me.
Fabulous, sir. Thank you so much for being here, and it was great to see you again. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily, so feel free to grab some coffee and some great refreshments we have in our non-existent green room in the backstage area of our studio. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me across all forms, social media, simply at And I Quote Channel, which is written right below here on my name tag. We took liberty of posting the links to where you can follow all of our guests who have been a part of this episode of the Writer Showcase in the comment section of this video, so make sure you check that out. Also, we're on the road to 5,000. Once we do, we'll have a live stream that will include special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we have merch. We're going into the colder seasons here in the US of A. Feel free to get some shirts, hoodies, some coffee mugs, and some other wonderful items that you can add to your collection or send as a gift to a friend or a family member of yours. Link is in our social media bios. My short story, Wolf of the West, is a part of the Western Tales Volume 1 anthology from Veritas Entertainment. There's a link down in the description where you can buy a copy of it on ebook, paperback, or hardcover. Go ahead and read the anthology. Give it a review on Amazon or Goodreads.com. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody at Veritas Entertainment and all the other authors who are part of that anthology for being a part of it. It's an honor to be a part of this incredible team of writers. Look forward to publishing more stories, soon. So thank you for being here. And I Quotes on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST, and then movie watch-alongs on Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when reading a good book and supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Strelin of Ulia is a cursed man, and cursed men are dangerous. He has traveled the known world seeking a way to lift his curse. So far, he has not found what he is looking for. When Trellin arrives in the city of Anshi, in the nation of Paraba, he meets a cold reception. The desert nation is unforgiving, its people have proven untrustworthy, and the locals have no love for foreigners. Now, a wealthy stranger offers to lift Trellin's curse for a price, and he must make a choice. Seek a solution elsewhere, or risk imprisonment in the Tower of Ruhak, a place from whence no man has ever escaped. The known world of Atera, The Prisoner of Ruhak Tower. Now available on Amazon in paperback and on Kindle.
All right, I'm a little tired, I'm a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.